in the community are not reaching their full potential?
Who says they aren't? So I thought about this because we certainly see in communities that are deemed priority neighborhoods, we see lots of examples of youth who are succeeding.
Yeah.
And in those same neighborhoods, we see examples of youth who are not succeeding. And they certainly are, they can go to the same schools, their families can have the same economic challenges, they can still come from single parent families or sometimes grandparent-led families. So why is it that some are and some aren't?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought a lot about this, and I thought, like, it seems to me that everybody in their life needs somebody who believes in them.
Okay.
Doesn't have to, I mean, ideally, and for many of us, it's our families.
Yeah.
But, and that's not bound by your economics, it's not bound by your culture, it's not bound by your, you know, what your family unit looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have that, then there are teachers that a single teacher can make the difference. I mean, if I look back in my life, I think about my grade 3 teacher, the minister I had in the church that I was confirmed in, and another teacher, a high school teacher I had. And those 3 people always spoke of me as being able to go places and do things. The fact that I speak publicly so much comes from that minister.
Okay.
The fact that I have a love of books comes from that teacher.
Yeah.
So I think it speaks volumes to schools and communities about the ability of one person to really make a big difference in people's lives. I actually, this morning I was reading the paper.
Hooray!
Yay! And there was actually this article, did your school make the grade?
Right.
So this is the report of the Fraser Institute. And so they were talking about, I was really taken by this, it really struck me. So there's a story about this young girl who's just graduated from Nelson Boylan, which is a school that is in the very bottom of the Fraser Report rankings in the city of Toronto. And so when she started at that school, she was doing terribly at school, she hated school, she wasn't getting anywhere. And then she went on to say, so I just want, if it's okay, I'm just going to read
go
this.
for it.
This is from the Sunday Sun, March 2nd. So they're talking about her and they say, Ahmad, a child of social housing, now on her way to studying to be a youth worker, arrived at Boylan, hating most things school-related, and her dismal grades reflected it. But after being encouraged by a grade 11 teacher to read The Bite of the Mango, a book about a young survivor of civil war in Sierra Leone, Ahmed became increasingly engaged with school. So one teacher's recommendation and an inspiring book made a difference, and she saw herself in that possibility, and that's where the gap is. Youth who are never given an example of something that they could see themselves in. So it's great when you see someone like Drake, who's going out of his way. I'm not saying he's the world's biggest role model.
Right.
I very, you know, you're always concerned about, you know, people in the entertainment business or sports business,
Yeah.
you know, being set up as role models. Except that, I mean, he does say a lot of positive things, and he is an example of, just because he grew up, you know, in public housing, it doesn't mean that he's going to be stuck there all his life.
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't think we feature the folks who are academically gifted, who succeed through academics, and who've come from that same background. We feature the sports. Orlando Franklin of the Broncos grew up in Toronto community housing. So all sorts of folks like that. Jane Finch has many, many examples of people who grew up. But we focus a lot on the people who succeeded in sports and rappers and entertainment and stuff like that, which is unfortunate. What was the question again? Why do some succeed and why don't some?
Yes.
I honestly think it's is the lack of role models and the lack of the one person. That person doesn't have to be fancy or have succeeded themselves, but the one person they learn to trust and that continues to give them the message that they can succeed,
It's
that
really
they have
awesome.
potential.